live and direct on a Thursday. We are with you for the next 2 hours and change here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video stream, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page, WIBW News. And we can promise you this on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We will be a more pleasant diversion than the last 2.5 hours of Kansas City Royals baseball. Because boy, howdy, they stink right now. That is gross with a capital G for the boys in blue as they hit the midway point, scoring 1 run in a 3-game sweep. That's 1 run total in 27 innings. Swept at the hands of the Tampa Bay Rays, fall today by a 4-0 score. And a Royals team that won 86 last year is now on pace at the exact midway point of 2025 to lose 86 this season. And my mom always told me, you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's not really how sports talk radio works. So
no, it's not. So here's what I'm going to say. They are right now officially the T word, turbo ass. Dude, this is unwatchable. It is unlistenable. It is unwatchable. It is awful.
The at-bats all so bad. And the ones that are good are right at guys. Like, every hard hit ball is at somebody. Michael Garcia, today's game could have flipped. Like, 4-0 is not insurmountable. You're in slam distance in an inning. You've got a chance. Even if you've scored a combined 1 run in the last 26 innings. And the Royals get 2 on with 1 out. And Michael Garcia puts a good swing on one from Pete Fairbanks. And it caroms off his glove, and Taylor Walls makes a spectacular play at short to glove it and turn it into a 1-6-4-3 double play that ends up ending the ball game and sealing the shutout. And that's just kind of the way it goes when you're down this bad. And the Royals are down as bad as they have been, well, certainly in quite some time. And it is hard. It's one thing to watch your pitching staff struggle and you're losing a bunch of games 8-3 or 9-5 or that's frustrating in its own right. But there's nothing worse than watching a team that cannot score, where you go into a half inning and you are expecting the worst. You are expecting a 1-2-3 inning. You are expecting a roll me over ground out, a strikeout, and a lazy fly ball, and for the other pitcher to get into the dugout. And if there is somehow a scoring opportunity, you are expecting it to go by the wayside because the Royals have been that bad with runners in scoring position all year long, but especially in this stretch.
It's miserable. I would argue almost that a baseball team that is incapable of scoring might be worse than a football team that can't score, because at the very least, one, in football, there is a chance your defense or special teams can score for you. That can happen. There are other ways to score. Also, like, sometimes you get lucky and the other team just falls asleep at the wheel and, like, you break 3 tackles and get an 80-yard touchdown, even if it's a fluke. That doesn't happen quite the same way in baseball. That's a little bit different than just, like, running into one and hitting a home run once in a while. It's a bit different. Like, what do you think during this 5-game winning streak? If I asked you winning streak for the opponents, winning streak if you're betting Royals opponents money line, over the 5-game losing streak, what do you think the Royals are with runners in scoring position?
Gosh, they got to be. Vinny got that hit the other night, scored that meaningless run on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 1 or 2 for 20 some.
2 for 23.
Yeah,
5 games. 2 for 23. 3 offers. And one of the games where they got 1 hit, they only had 2 at-bats with a runner in scoring position the entire game.
And it's not like you can point to anybody and say, well, hey, this guy's going well. Hey, the big guns are firing, just nobody's going with them. Bobby Witt Jr.'s in a funk. Vinny had 2 hits today, but he's been in a funk. 5 through 9 in the order, a combined 0 for 14 with 5 strikeouts in this game.
Real quick, a note about that funk for Witt and Vinny he had a decent day today. 2 hits, did strike out twice. For all the consternation about what is wrong with Pasquantino at the start of the season, and Bobby Witt still, even if he's in a bad stretch or having a down year, still one of the best players.
Still
in
Bobby
baseball.
Witt Jr. Yeah.
They have almost identical batting averages and on-base percentages at this point. Vinny he's less than 10 points behind Witt at this point.
It's a bad stretch. There's not a lot of good to talk about with the Royals, but we're going to talk about them when we come back and start our first full hour of 580 Sports Talk. Also coming up on the program today over the next 2 hours, we'll crown a short week champion on What Is Wrong With You, because we've got our semifinals coming up on Friday for the month of June. We'll talk to Rick Peterson for the local sports spotlight. That's coming up at the bottom of the next hour. Gracious enough to move from the 3 o'clock hour to the 4 o'clock hour on this Thursday. We'll have sports headlines. We'll have either or over under. We'll continue our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff, which I think you're maybe more excited about if you're a Royals and a Chiefs fan right now. 71 days. Number 71 is Josh Simmons. We're going to talk about the rookie a little bit later on. Hang out with us for the next 2 hours here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk. Our first full hour of 2 full hours today on a shortened edition of 580 Sports Talk following Royals baseball on this Thursday here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page, WIBW News. Boy, it feels like I just did that. Because I did about 10 minutes ago, give or take. Yeah, we were on, if you're just joining us, for about 5 minutes there or so after the Royals broadcast concluded. Royals lose again 4-0 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays come to town and complete a 3-game sweep of the Royals, who are now 0-10 at the K in the month of June. And in those 10 games, they have scored a total of 12 runs. What's 12 divided by 10, Brendan?
1.2.
Is that a lot of runs to score on average in a baseball game?
No.
Okay. I was thinking it was not a lot of runs to score on average in a baseball game. Would it be hard to win, theoretically, if you were averaging 1 run per game?
You know, it would be. For comparison's sake, if you will indulge me for one moment here. So if you're averaging 1.2 runs per game, if you had Walter Johnson, Kansas native, one of the greatest baseball players, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, if you had Walter Johnson pitch all 9 innings every single game over the course of the season, you'd go 0-162. His ERA for his career, 2.17. 2.17 career ERA, the Royals would still lose every game if they only scored 1.2 a game. We're talking averages here.
That is unfortunate. That is
pretty gross.
There's a lot of words for it. None of them are kind. The Royals pratfall continues. They hit the midway point with a record of 38-43, on pace for 76 wins at the midway mark of 2025. We'll have more on where the Royals stand at the midway point on tomorrow's show. We'll talk a little bit more about the series that was, the game that was today against the Rays, and then what happened last night, because I have to double back to last night, because I think the second inning of last night's game was the ultimate disrespect and embarrassment to these Kansas City Royals, and I'll talk about why. And we'll get there. Plenty of Royals reaction on the show today. And then we'll talk about some more pleasant things. We'll set the Royals aside. We're going to do some local sports with Rick Peterson, bottom of this hour, our local sports spotlight with Pistol of TopSports.news. Just because we are officially in the summer months doesn't mean we don't have anything to talk about. We'll get Pistol's thoughts on the new head boys basketball coach at Highland Park, the Shrine Bowl, and some other thoughts on what's going on in Shawnee County Athletics and Washburn University Athletics as well. Look forward to having Pistol join us at the bottom of this hour. We got a full boat of 580 Sports Talk headlines still to come. We got either or over under. We got what is wrong with you. We're going to crown a short week champion today on what is wrong with you. And we will continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff with number 71, since we're 71 days away from kickoff in Rio. Josh Simmons is number 71 for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's looking like he's going to be the left tackle week 1. Or at the very least, the door is wide open for the first-round pick to walk through and be the starting left tackle on day 1. So what should the Chiefs expect? That's a complicated question, particularly given the injury that he's coming off of. But what can the Chiefs expect from Josh Simmons right away? Can they get the caliber of left tackle play that they have won Super Bowls with from their rookie out of Ohio State? We'll discuss that a little bit later on in today's show.
That's been a good number in Chiefs history, by the way. The last guy to wear it was 3 years ago, Danny Shelton. He played 1 game. But prior to that, number 71 for 5 years, Mitchell Schwartz, all-pro right tackle. Before that, Jeff Allen, the Cookie Man, good player. You want to go back to the 60s and 70s? How about Ed? Is it Buddy? Ed Bud?
I am Buddy.
I'm not sure. My apologies to Ed. 4-time All-Pro. According to Pro Football Reference, the most valuable Chief to ever wear 71. Been a good number.
Yeah, good number with some good heritage. And Josh Simmons will don that number.
No pressure, Josh.
Yeah, right? That's quite a bit to live up to. We want to hear from you as we go along on the show today. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is the number. Vent your spleen about that Royals performance. If you were able to hang on to the broadcast long enough to come back and hang out with us today, vent spleen on the text line. We want to hear from the frustrated Royals fan today at 785-272-9429. Can also get at us in the chat on our YouTube stream. If you're watching live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Why don't you go subscribe to the channel today, by the way? We're now 3 subscribers shy of 750. So, hey, maybe we can get to that number today. I know there's 3 of you out there listening who have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet. Open up YouTube on your phone. Go to it on the web, youtube.com. Search 580 Sports Talk and smash that subscribe button. Get us to that nice round number, 750. And as you're watching the show live, participate in the live chat. Interact with us and your fellow listeners, the 580 Sports Talk community throughout the show. Speaking of venting some spleen, we got Christopher in, Mark H is in, Paul, Tyler, and Vance, and there is some spleen venting happening in the live chat. We appreciate those of you who are in today watching with us and also who are going to join us as we go along today on 580 Sports Talk. Welcome Cameron as well, who points out that as of right now, the Colorado Rockies have scored 20 more runs this year than the Kansas City Royals. First of all, rude, uncalled for. Second of all, the altitude probably evens that out. The home games at Coors Field probably balance things out to where those 20 runs are probably, because they play at Coors Field. So they're probably just as bad, if not worse, than the Royals. I haven't looked at WRC Plus in a little bit. Third of all, it is still funny that tied for the lead among most home runs hit at Kauffman Stadium this year is Colorado Rockies left fielder Jordan Beck, who did it in one afternoon.
Verbal meme here, but the image that goes around the internet all the time from Star Wars, one of the prequels with Padme, Natalie Portman, and Anakin. They're going back and forth, and she says, well, so that means something, right? Right? Rockies have 20 more runs scored than the Royals. That must mean their pitching is good too, right? Right? No, unfortunately not.
Well,
they were winning today at one point.
The Rockies and the Royals, well, the Royals will hope to avoid having something in common with the Rockies, who are about to get swept at home by the Dodgers. The Royals will hope to avoid that feat over the next 3 days. And hang tight with us today, because maybe the problem is, maybe the reason that the Royals haven't won at home, maybe that's because you haven't been to a game yet this month. So we're going to give away a family 4-pack of tickets later on this hour to Saturday afternoon's game between the Royals and the Dodgers. That's a 3:15 first pitch. They're giving away the T-shirt that day. The blue T-shirt. I forget the slogan. It's not Back the Blue. That's different. It's not like Beyond the Blue. Whatever it is. I don't remember.
No, I'm sorry. I got distracted. We got some breaking college football news, but
okay.
No, I don't know either.
So, but whatever the T-shirt is, there will be.
Bring out the blue shirt.
Bring out the blue.
Bring out the blue shirt.
Thank you very much. Yeah, family 4-pack of tickets for Saturday to see the Royals, and maybe you are the good luck charm. Maybe you are the person who will bring the Royals good luck and snap that streak. And maybe you won't, because maybe they'll win Friday night. But, I mean, you see them play. Like, maybe they need you. Maybe you're the lucky rabbit's foot. We'll give them away to a lucky listener a little bit later on the show today. So be listening for your cue to call. Today's game was gross. The Royals had about 9 innings of really non-competitive at-bats. They had a leadoff double from Jonathan India, and then Shane Baz had like a hidden perfect game until the 8th inning, or 7th inning. 7th inning, Royals put a little something together. Pasquantino had an infield hit, and Garcia had a hit, and it looked like maybe they were going to get Baz out of the game there in the 7th, and he stayed in, and Nick Lofton hit a 101-mile-an-hour missile right to the shortstop for a 6-4-3 double play on the very next pitch to end the frame. And the Royals had another chance in the ninth with 2 on and 1 out, and Michael Garcia hit a ball pretty hard that took a carom off of the pitcher and right to Taylor Walls for another 6-4-3 double play, and that was your ball game. Michael Lorenzen was okay. He was like fifth starter okay. Gave up the 2 home runs in the 6th that felt like the game was over at that point. Like 2-0, even with as miserable as the Royals had been offensively the first 2 nights, 2-0 feels like you can get 2. You feel like you're there. But when you're in this kind of slump, 4 feels like you may as well ask him to score 20 runs in the final 4 innings. And those back-to-back home runs by Lau and Caminero were pretty much game, set, and match. So today's game, not very interesting to me. I want to talk about last night's game. Specifically, I want to talk about the second inning of last night's game. And I think it's emblematic of a lot of things. The Royals, like, when you're going this bad, there is an element of also you are unlucky. Like, there's a version of events where Nick Lofton's 101-mile-an-hour laser is 2 feet to the right, and it's a base hit, and the Royals put together a rally in the 7th. There's a version of events where Michael Garcia's ground ball in the 9th finds the middle of the field, and the Royals get a run and start to rally in the 9th inning. Obviously, those things didn't happen. Again, it's a little bit of bad luck bad and unlucky and ungood is what I say. You know, you'd rather be lucky than good, but sometimes you are both unlucky and ungood. And the Royals are solidly in the unlucky and ungood portion of their schedule right now, the way that they're playing. But the second inning last night, I thought was the most embarrassing inning of the season for the Kansas City Royals. And if you did not see it, you're wondering, well, what did they do? Did they throw the ball all over the lot? Did they waste a bases loaded, nobody out opportunity? No, it wasn't anything like that. They make any errors in the inning, although I thought the Waka wild pitch that scored Tampa Bay's second run, I thought that was a very poor effort from Salvador Perez behind the plate. It was a crappy pitch, but I thought that was an effort that could have been better from Salvador Perez. And look, he's 35. He's played a lot of games. And there's a reason he got a day off today. Maybe that was part of the reason, was watching that and seeing, man, he couldn't get off the out of the squat and do a better job on that one. Like, that looked stoppable, that wild pitch that scored the second run. But that's not why I say that was the most embarrassing inning of the season. I say it was the most embarrassing of the season because it is the second inning against Michael Waka. And after the leadoff man is retired, Christopher Morel infield hit, Josh Lowe seeing eye single to right. Jose Caballero bunts with runners at first and third. And Caballero's a good bunter, and he ended up singling on the play, scoring a run. That made it 1-0. But there's an element, if you're bunting, you're telling the defense, hey, we just want that run. The run is more important than my out. We want this run. And give Caballero credit, caught the defense on their heels a little bit, and was able to turn it into a single. Then Chandler Simpson gets an infield hit with his speed. Jansen at the plate, Danny Jansen, who homered and drove in 3 on Tuesday night. So swinging a good bat for the Rays. The wild pitch happens, moves the runners up a base, so a run scores, make it 2-0. You have runners at second and third. Still 1 out in the inning, top of the order on deck. Danny Jansen squeezes. Second time in the inning, essentially, that the Rays opt to squeeze. And what you were doing when you squeeze bunt, and this is true at every level, and there's a reason you only ever really see it in the major leagues late in games. Like, think about how many times you see a squeeze. Think about when you see it in a game. 8th inning of a tie game, 9th inning, the home team maybe the 10th of a game. That's the Royals lost a game in extra innings in Milwaukee earlier this year when Bryce Terang squeezed. I think it was in the 11th inning off of Sam Long. That's when you see the squeeze. The Rays squeezed twice in the second inning. And why do you squeeze? Because you just want the run. You're not worried about a big inning. You just want the run. And what the Rays signaled with how they handled the second inning last night was, we're not really concerned about putting up a big number. We just want to make sure we get 2 or 3 here because we don't think you can get 2 or 3 all night. We don't think you could get 2 or 3 against a pitching machine in an empty stadium if we went home for the night. And you know what? They were right.
I made the cross-sport comparison about offenses that can't score earlier. That was the not quite apples to apples, but that's like when your backups are running, like picking up big gains late in a football game. You're blowing someone out, and like your backups are taking knees. Like, yeah, they can't tackle us. Even our third stringers are in. They can't do anything about it. Like, let's just kneel it out and get this clock running. It's insulting, but also like if you're the Rays and you know it works, why would you do anything else? If you know this is a guaranteed way to win a baseball game, then yeah, you should absolutely go forth and do it. You know, during postgame, if you were with us for the Royals postgame show with Steve Stewart on the radio broadcast, you heard Matt Quattrero get, frankly, as combative as I think I've ever heard him. And look, I'm not gonna do the super sports talk meathead thing and like go after him. I get it. Like I'd be PO'd too. I get it.
Yeah, it's his job. It's his livelihood. And Ann Rodgers, I give credit. I'm assuming that was Ann Rodgers.
I believe it was
in the exchange, basically asking, so like, when's this going to get better?
Well, and she like, where does that belief come from? And because we got good players in there. And yeah, but this has been a long time. And I'm with you. I give Ann a lot of credit for the question she asked there. What? And Matt Quattrero can say whatever he wants. He's got to hype up his guys. Like, I get it. I'm not upset about anything Quattrero did or said.
No manager in history, not anyone I'm aware of, and certainly not anyone who kept his job beyond the next 24 hours, stood behind a podium and said, my guys are a bunch of clowns. I wish I could trade them all. I hate the sight of them when they walk into the clubhouse. Like, it ain't never going to be that.
No, and I don't think Q is this guy. Maybe some of them say that behind closed doors, but that doesn't happen during the 6 minutes that you're behind the microphone post game at the podium. But I think Ann was completely correct and justified in her line of questioning. Why should we, as observers of the Royals, have any faith that they are going to get this figured out? And we should also make this clear, Dan, because it's not just figure it out and get back to a serviceable level. You are digging yourself a big hole. You are putting yourself way behind the eight ball here.
The Central's gone. That's not happening.
Central's gone.
The Central's gone.
There is a car crash, like a highway pileup of teams trying to get in the wild card this year. There are very few teams halfway through the Major League Baseball season that are out of it. I was actually listening to the Cubs game for a little bit today, and they were talking about this. There are effectively and roughly 23 teams of the 30 in Major League Baseball who realistically are trying to go for it right now. 4 in the NL are out. Three in the AL are like truly out of it. A's, White Sox, and Orioles at this point, which is wild. Like, the more you lose now, the harder it is going to be to overcome this. We knew going into this year that the Royals were going to have to add a bat at the deadline if they wanted to make a playoff push. We knew that from the beginning, but also like the pitching has got to be great. The offense has to do enough. You're at a point now, you can't get by with your offense getting back to the level of enough. You need them to be legitimately good, transcending that expectation the rest of the way because of how far you've dug yourself a hole.
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't really necessarily think that's the case because the pitching has been so good. The bar for this offense is really low, and they still can't get over it because nobody who plays outfield for this team can hit. And right now, that includes Jack Caglione. I still believe in him long-term. I'm not worried about his long-term future. But short-term, this is what we kind of worried could happen to a 22-year-old seeing his first taste of big league pitching and being asked to be the savior for this offense. It's not working out. So nobody in the outfield can hit. Salvi's lagging behind. Jonathan India is not giving you what you hoped.
Let me modify because you're right, but let me modify what I said. I should have said, like, you need the consistency has to be there. You need a team that is, yes, it's a low bar because the pitching has been so good. The bullpen has been solid, but you can't have off days at that point. You need to string together so many wins to continue because as far as I'm concerned right now, there's no end in sight for when this offense is going to turn it around or figure it out or bounce back or whatever you want to say. Once they get to that point, you cannot afford to have a tough weekend for the offense or, man, we had another one of those 2-1 losses, another one of those 1-0 losses. You can't afford that. Even if you know you can win with 3 runs a game, you cannot afford to not have those because you are falling so far back of the pack. So yes, you don't need to suddenly be an 8 runs a game team.
Yeah, you don't need to turn
only need as many as it takes to win any individual game, but you cannot afford off days.
And that's been the most frustrating thing about all of this, is that it is not a high bar for this Royals offense to clear. But I don't think there's a single guy other than Michael Garcia who can say, I've been good enough this year. And I include Bobby Witt Jr. in that, who's having a fine year, an all-star year, still a great player, still a franchise cornerstone. But the Royals need him to be like MVP frontrunner good again, like he was last year, and he hasn't quite been that player. Hasn't been quite that hitter. And it looked like he might snap out of his funk a little bit. He had a good finish to the last homestand, had a really nice series in Texas, but has gone right back to kind of being in a bit of a funk in the last week of games. Nobody's been good enough. Salvador Perez, way off career norms. Jonathan India, way off career norms. The only guy who's taken a step forward offensively has been Michael Garcia. And we said this in March. They had to have guys take steps forward. It was reasonable to believe, given the youth and inexperience of some of these guys, that there was room for steps forward, but there wasn't room for this many steps back and only one guy improving, taking a big leap forward as a hitter. That's why you see the frustration we see in the YouTube comments. We got some on the text line, the frustration with hitting coach Alex Zumwalt. I don't necessarily know how much impact Zumwalt has on every aspect of this offense's failure. I don't think you could bring Charlie Lau back from the dead and he'd make Drew Waters and Kyle Isbell into positive offensive contributors. I just don't think that's what would happen. But I understand where that frustration is coming from, because this is not an offense that has to be spectacular, but they do have to score some runs. Some. It is incredible this year. This is a team that has struggled so mightily to score runs. And Christopher points out some of the more amazing stats this season about the Royals. You know, they have 3 3-run home runs all season.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And no grand slams. So of their home runs, and again, it's not a big number, it's 56 now through half the season. It's 56 home runs. 53 of those have either been solos or 2-run shots. And Christopher adds, they don't have an extra base hit this year with the bases loaded. They don't have an extra base hit. There's no 3-run double, no grand slam, 3-run triple, 2-run double if Salvy's the trail runner. They don't have anything like that. It is remarkable, and it is disappointing, and we are veering dangerously close to lost season territory with the Kansas City Royals, and it sure doesn't get any easier on this homestand with the Los Angeles Dodgers coming to town. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. The Royals offense is the champion emeritus. We can't submit them because they would win the entire year right now. But we're going to do What Is Wrong With You. And we got Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight a little bit later on this hour. We're just getting rolling on this truncated edition of 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for being with us here on 580 WIBW. What is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk is presented by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. That's our guy Mo. Give him a shout, 785-273-1572. Talk insurance with him.
Just stopped by the office the other day. In fact, hung out with our guy Mo for a little bit. He was telling me summertime's a little busy when you got little kids.
Yes.
Was telling me about all the various clubs and camps and whatnot his kids are doing.
It's busy when it's singular. I can only imagine when it's plural.
Man, I was talking to my wife's family we saw in Des Moines this past weekend. They've got like 4 different sports, and one of them's got day camps, and I mean it's nonstop.
Wow.
We was just like, okay, wake up, eat some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, watch some TV. Okay, take your bike out and go play in the yard for a while. Like that was I did some stuff in the summer. I remember basketball camp as a kid, but there were some days where I had nothing going on. It's crazy.
Now it's like everything camp.
Yeah.
Everything got a camp.
Yeah. But he told me he had adjusted his desk. It's now in standing desk form because he's been so sore running all over the place.
Oh, that's good. That's healthy.
Get the lumbar
lactic acid flowing a little bit. All right. We got 2 stories today competing with our current weekly champion, the harried husband hideaway.
Nice.
Gentleman who was squatting in an unoccupied rental home for 4 days to avoid an argument with his wife.
That's so funny.
It's a pretty good story. It might be our weekly winner. We're going to crown a weekly winner today so we can do our semifinals tomorrow. 2 new stories. Brendan, you go first.
All right. So I've never been a police officer, obviously. I don't know exactly the protocol for how they handle an arrest from a traffic stop or whatever. But I do not believe that part of the code is shooting your partner with a taser. But that is what happened in Florida. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says deputies were trying to make an arrest of Keelan Haynes following a traffic stop on Saturday night when Haynes started resisting and he was trying to pull away from one of the officers. Footage shows 2 deputies tussling with a man on the ground next to a Jeep when one deputy backs off, pulls on his taser, and fires while his partner is hanging on to the suspect. Unfortunately, the prongs of the taser connected with the other deputy, not the suspect. The deputy crumpled to the ground, and the suspect was able to run away.
I think I've seen that. That's super bad when that happened.
Yeah.
Tase your partner, dozy doe.
Yeah. Law enforcement says Haynes was resisting arrest and wouldn't remove his hands from under his body while he was on the ground. That's what prompted the taser incident, and then they shot himself.
That is tough.
Haynes was later stopped again because he tried to run a red light.
Yeah, well, at least they got him eventually.
Yeah, he had fentanyl on him. Not great.
What a story he'd have, though, for the rest of his life. Yeah, I was about to get arrested, but then the cops tased each other, and I got away.
That would be incredible.
I mean, he still has that story, even though they caught him later on an unrelated offense.
Yeah.
They still, I mean, he's got a story for life. My story takes us across the pond to the United Kingdom, where a former jewelry store manager was sentenced to 28 months in prison after she posted selfies wearing stolen merchandise and sent them to her coworkers. 39-year-old Lucy Roberts frequently took jewelry home with her during the year she worked at a high-end jewelry shop, telling suspicious coworkers she, quote, was conducting work at home and sorting stock for the workshop. It was only when Roberts quit and went on vacation that her colleagues realized where the jewelry went. She began sending her former coworkers selfies from a cruise decked out in items taken from the shop. Detective Sergeant Krista Wilkinson said in a police news release, without a care in the world, dripping in diamonds, thinking she had deceived everybody. In total, Roberts stole more than $170,000 in diamonds, gold, silver, bespoke jewelry, and cash from her employer. Police said Roberts initially denied she'd stolen any stock, insisting she had borrowed some of the jewelry from a coworker and that she was framed, but she later entered a guilty plea and got 28 months in prison. When she was arrested at London's Heathrow Airport, she was wearing a substantial amount of stolen jewelry.
Of course she was. Of course she was.
You know, I understand if you've got it, flaunt it.
Sure.
Maybe if you got it that way, don't flaunt it to the people that you stole from.
People are so
like, be one thing if it were your pals. How are you doing that with your coworkers? How brazen?
I can't. Well, I was going to say I can't imagine doing that, but that pertains to most stories we have on What Is Wrong With You.
No, that's fact. Yeah. All right. We got the tase your partner, dozy doe. and we got dripping in diamonds. Who wins today?
I'm going to go with the two officers, the officer tasing. Like, you let the guy get away. That's the number one thing in sports TV, or just in TV in general. Number one rule: don't ever let go of your microphone. I imagine the number one rule of a traffic stop is don't tase your partner and let the guy get away. I'm going to go with that one today.
All right. Does it beat the harried husband hideaway?
No, man, that one's so funny.
Yeah, I really get a kick out of it.
I just want to know what they were fighting about.
I know, right?
What was he trying to avoid?
Dying for a follow-up. What confrontation could he not bear avoiding to the point where he broke into an unoccupied rental? That is our weekly champion, because we've got our June semifinals coming up tomorrow on What Is Wrong With You, sponsored by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. Again, that number to call to holler at our guy Mo, 785-273-1572. We will take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, the local sports spotlight with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news on 580 WIBW. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Usually we do this in the 3 o'clock hour on Thursdays, but Pistol gracious to move to the 4 o'clock hour today on a shortened version of the show. He covers all things Shawnee County High School sports and Washburn University athletics for TopSports.news. And the grind never stops, Pistol. Still stories to cover as we get into the summer. Just had the Shrine Bowl recently, and it may not have been as broad a coalition from Shawnee County making the trip to Dodge City to play in the game and represent the East squad in the Shrine Bowl, which was won by the West 28-6. But three members of that really good Seaman team that made its trip to sectionals, Caden Estrada, who had a great career at Washburn Rural, and a really neat capstone for those guys, at least three of whom are going to play college football.
Yes. Yeah. And it was good. It was kind of a hard game to watch with all the wind and all that. The story of the game was kind of the wind, but good for those guys. And obviously, no matter the outcome, it's always great for the Shrine kids and things like that, the hospitals.
Anything new on what Briar Finley's going to do college-wise? We know that his two Seaman teammates playing in the Shrine Bowl, Caden Jordan and Max Huston, are going to play college football. Jordan at Hutch, and Huston at Coffeyville. Mentioned Caden Estrada, Washburn Rural. He's going to Emporia State to play on their offensive line. Briar Finley's got options in 3 different sports. He's a heck of an athlete. What do you sense will be the choice for him?
Baseball. I think it'll be baseball unless something has happened since I talked to him a little over a week ago. He was leaning towards baseball and probably at the junior college level to get his career started.
Rick Peterson is our guest, joining us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. This is the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. Pistol Highland Park has hired a boys basketball coach since the last time we talked to you. Michael Williams stepping aside after 7 outstanding seasons at the helm of the Runnin' Scots, and he'll turn things over to one of his assistants, Nate Wallace, who, like Michael Williams, is a Topeka kid. He's been on the staff the last 3 seasons. What's Nate Wallace going to bring to that Scots program, and how's he going to keep him moving in the right direction?
Well, I think it's a good hire for many reasons, and I've known Nate his whole career, covered him at Topeka High and throughout his coaching career as well. I think it's a good hire because, they got a little late start. Mike's decision was a little late coming. So, they had to get going right away on their summer stuff because summer is so important now. So I think in this case, promoting somebody that already knows the kids, very familiar with the program, familiar with the system they run, I think it's good.
And I wanted to also talk about, lately featured on TopSports.news, one of the standout athletes of really the last couple of years of high school sports here in Shawnee County, but maybe the standout athlete. And it's obviously a crowded picture, but hard to name someone who had a better year in so many different disciplines than Ryan Miller at Seaman. And she has continued running into the summer, went out to the Nike Nationals and had a really nice showing. Seems to be setting up for a senior year to be remembered for Ryan Miller, who had a junior year to be remembered in track and cross country, Pistol.
Yeah, well, you go into the Nike Nationals, that's the meet. I mean, that's where all the big timers are. So if you can place out there, and she ran an all-time Kansas best in one event and a couple, number 2 in another event, she obviously made her presence felt, and it's just the offers, I think, are just going to keep coming for her.
We're joined by Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us here for the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. You can find all of Pistol's great work covering our local teams over at TopSports.news. New feature you got up on the website this week, Pistol. Tell us a little bit about Big Dog.
Yeah. Big Dog's been around forever. I mean, he's been around a lot longer than I have, which is kind of saying something. So he 60 years. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I'm at I think 46. This coming year will be 47, and he puts that to shame. And great, just did basically every sport. Football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and did them all well. And was the first one ever that's been honored by Keisha with a 60-year plaque. So I'm very happy for him. I'm also very happy he's going to step aside a little bit, but he's going to go into the recruit mode. And we're really hard up in this state for officials in a lot of sports, and he's going to try to go out and help recruit and help find and maintain some young officials and some new officials.
Well, that's awesome. That is absolutely fantastic to hear. I wanted to ask you, in fact, Pistol, about a potential new sport. I was having a conversation with someone just yesterday, in fact, about girls flag football. And you and I have had this conversation before in previous years, but it feels like there's more and more momentum toward it, really nationwide, not just here in Kansas. Obviously, some of the smaller schools, Baker, Ottawa, they've got women's flag football programs on campus there that are competitive. Missouri Southern in the MIAA, they're adding it this coming year. It'll be a club sport for a year. It'll be a scholarship sport a year for that. What would you say is the likelihood within the next couple of years at the high school level that we have girls flag football for Keisha?
I'd say it's still a long shot as you put in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I mean, it's gaining momentum. I just don't know what to think. I don't know where they put it. As far as what season, we're kind of overlapping so many sports and so many seasons as it is. I would think that would be a challenge. But hey, if it gains momentum and continues to gain momentum, who knows? But I don't think I'm going to be covering it in the next couple of years anyway.
Yeah, that was the one thought I had, because I'm all for it. If we can get it in this state and continue, growing that game, it's my favorite sport. Awesome. But volleyball is extremely popular in the fall. Basketball is extremely popular in the winter. Softball and soccer and track and everything, like the spring is obviously super loaded. I'm not even touching on, tennis and soccer and all of those. It is hard for that sport or any potential new ones to know where you would place it on the calendar.
Yeah. And like I said, we're already overlapping, by the team goes to basketball, girls basketball state, for example, by the time they get out of the girls state tournaments, spring practice is already well underway and almost ready for competition. So I just don't know where you put these new sports.
Let's stick with women's sports, but let's move on to the college level here, Pistol, and talk a little Washburn women's basketball. I know Coach Laura Wessling super excited about her incoming transfers this year. Have you gotten a chance to look into the 3 newest Ichabods they added through the portal, made official yesterday?
No, I really haven't, and I will. But I do know they had, they felt so good about the returning class. Obviously no seniors on the team last year. And I knew they had specific needs, and it looks like Laura has gone out and tried to fill those specific needs. So I'm excited. I was excited long before yesterday, and I just think that they're really headed in the right direction. And I'll go out on a limb and say I think a NCAA tournament berth is definitely within shot for them this coming year.
No, I'm right there with you, Pistol. I feel the exact same way, even before, including any incoming players, transfers, recruits, whatever it might be. But thinking about, what this team needed a backup point guard, needed probably some young depth as well on the perimeter, and needed a good second post behind Bari. Well, went out and added a guard, another guard, and a backup post who's got plenty of experience. So if you're just talking about are they going to fill their biggest needs, that feels like a home run for Coach Wessling.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised at all, because I think they've been, for the last couple of years, they've really been headed in the right direction, and I thought they had a big breakthrough this last season. So, like I said, I'm excited.
One other former Ichabod I wanted to touch on real quick, Pistol, Jacob Hanna. Not sure if you saw this earlier today. We're going to talk about this coming up a little bit later on the show. But Jacob Hanna is going to play with the KU alumni in the basketball tournament, which begins midway through July. They're going to play their opening round games at the Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. I think that's a really cool first pro opportunity for Jacob to get to go play with other guys who are pros elsewhere against other pros, $1 million on the line, and getting to do it with some KU guys who I'm sure he grew up watching, being a Wichita kid himself. That, to me, seemed like a really cool opportunity for a guy who should have been an All-American this year.
Yes, I agree. And I'm a big Jacob Hanna fan. I thought he was just...
He's the best, man. He's the best.
You just talk about, one, a great kid, but two, a kid that came in and gave this program exactly what they needed to take that next step. And, I'm not sure where you're at without Jacob Hanna, but we saw where you were with him.
Couple more for Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us for the local sports spotlight here on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. I know you get a chance to catch your breath a little bit with the season in the books and summer being here, and you have a chance to maybe do a little reflecting on the year that was 2024, 2025 in local sports. And when you look back on the year, and I won't hold you to making a top 10 list or anything like that here, but when you look back at 2024, 25, what will be the things that you remember, or maybe the thing that you really think that will stand out in your memory about what occurred on the prep sports scene here in Shawnee County?
Well, and I kind of am I just don't know exactly how I want to do it, if I want to split them up or how I want to do it. But I kind of am working on some top 10 lists. But I tell you what, okay, girls first. I mean, it was kind of the year of, Ryan Miller. I mean, for sure. And then, set a all-time best in cross country, even though she didn't win a state title there. Swept her 3 events in track. And as we've said before, she's also a very good soccer player, very good basketball player. So you have to kind of start with her. But Hayden girls sports, they win state tennis and state golf within like 3 days of each other. Very, very good year for them. And then, hey, how about Washburn Rural girls soccer? I mean, girls soccer has been so good at Washburn Rural, but they had never been able to win one, and they got that done this spring. So all those immediately come to mind. And then on the boys' side, it was more kind of the year of near misses with a lot of second place finishes and some third place finishes. Easton Brockstrom immediately comes to mind, winning his third state title in state wrestling, third straight. Well, he was a 4-time finalist. And then, hey, I got to throw out Hayden Bowling. Hayden Bowling won their first ever bowling title, and were the only, unless I'm wrong, which I certainly could be, I think they were the only team in local team to win a state team title. So great for them. And then Washburn Rural boys track, really, really good. Isaiah Terry and the record-setting mile relay. Liam Morrison was state champ. So just an overall really good year.
We'll look forward to reliving those with some stories in the next coming days and weeks over at TopSports.news from the great Rick Peterson, who joins us every Thursday here on the show for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, always a pleasure. We'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We will take a timeout, come back, wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this 4 o'clock hour at 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Brendan with you. We've got one more hour today on the program. We'll spend it with a whole lot of 580 Sports Talk headlines. A lot going on today. Ian Premer's recruitment is in the books. Committed to Notre Dame. And that came out of nowhere today. Not the commitment, but the committed to Notre Dame of the Great Bend Panthers star tight end. That news breaking just within the last hour. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because there were even some national voices, not just some local voices, who were pretty sure that was going to go different. And that the hat, so to speak, there was no commitment ceremony for Premer today, but they were pretty convinced the hat he was going to symbolically put on was going to be purple. And again, not just from a regional or a Manhattan perspective. There were national voices today who said they expected that recruitment to go the way it did not go, as Ian Premer has committed to Notre Dame for the class of 2026. Also, Bobby Witt Jr. makes a commitment to the World Baseball Classic, plus the NBA Draft and a whole bunch more in our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll continue our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff with number 71. That is Josh Simmons, the rookie left tackle, who it now looks like is going to be the starting left tackle, or at the very least will have every opportunity to be the starting left tackle from day one. Also a game of either or over under. It'll probably be Royals related because here's one. Over under. Half a run tomorrow.
Under.
Yeah, they've hit the under the last two nights. That's all coming up on the final hour of today's edition of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Final hour of this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live on video. Stream us on YouTube, our channel 580 Sports Talk. You can also watch us on our Facebook page, WIBW News. However you're checking out the show today, appreciate you doing that. Appreciate you being a part of 580 Sports Talk. I am Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski is with me today. Spencer Dupuy will be back next week. We've got one more hour of sports talk to get to today. Joined you late due to Royals baseball. And speaking of, I still have that family four-pack of tickets for Saturday afternoon, Royals, Dodgers. Royals haven't won a home game this month. Maybe you're the lucky charm. Or maybe you're not, and you're going to sit there on Saturday, watch the Royals not score any runs, but at least you'll get to see them do it against Shohei Ohtani, who might pitch on Saturday.
Hey!
I'm just saying, sometimes you go to the ballpark, check out the opponent. There's nothing wrong with that.
This isn't going to happen, but wouldn't it be funny if the Royals got like 7 runs in 4 innings off Shohei?
Lit him
just
up.
battered him around. Kyle Isbell 3 for 4.
Bobby hits one off the Royals Hall of Fame in the first inning. That would be something.
That'd be awesome.
Not
going to happen, but it'd be awesome.
No, it'd be pretty sick. But anyway, Saturday, family 4-pack of tickets. Look, I know the Royals are struggling, but you can't beat fun at the old ballpark. And like I said, maybe you're the lucky charm. Maybe you're the person whose presence at the K will start a home winning streak. It's a 10-game home losing streak. That is wretched beyond words. 12 runs in 10 home games this month for the Kansas City Royals. And if you want to go back to the last one they won, it was a 1-0 win. So
wow,
it's 13 runs in their last 11 home games. But at least we know that hitting coach Alex Zumwalt has his eyes on the prize and getting better, and he's not DMing randos on Twitter.
Hold on.
Actually,
wait a minute.
Hold. I'm getting some new information on that subject. So
that might not be true. Uh-oh.
Yeah, man, it's grim. It's real grim at One Royal Way right now.
Nope.
So, but we'll send you to the K. Yeah, family 4-pack of tickets to give away later this hour. Text line is open. Want to hear from you. 785-272-9429 is the number. That is 785-272-9429. Can also interact with us in the chat if you are watching on our YouTube stream. Again, the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to that channel today if you have not already. And interact with us as we go along throughout the show and interact with your fellow listeners. Vance wants to know how much we're paying the winner to take the tickets to the Saturday Royals game.
I'd feel like I might have to. I'm broke as hell, but if that'll help you get there, I'd do it for you.
Mark B's tired of the Royals kicking him in the nads. I understand.
Yep.
I feel that way.
Yep.
Watching them. It's on the list of things that are more pleasant right now than watching the Royals on offense. Like right up there with like root canals and imagining your in-laws naked and like
all right,
banging yourself in the shin.
What? Oh.
In the shin with a tire iron. Let me finish my sentences, please.
Just say, usually that's pretty fun.
There's to each their own, to own their each. There are a lot of things more pleasant than watching the Royals try to play offensive baseball right now. Yeah. It's offensive. All right. That's fact. Anyway, let me get some more Royals stuff on the either or over under later on this hour of the show. We're also going to continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff, number 71. 71 days until Chiefs Chargers. Maybe that's increasingly pertinent and exciting to you if you are a Royals and Chiefs fan. Maybe you're starting to look towards September 5th with a bit more urgency, let's say, in the last little while. We got you covered. We're continuing on our Chiefs countdown to kickoff. And number 71 is Josh Simmons. And there's lots to say about the first round pick of the Chiefs this past draft. So we'll get into that later this hour as well. Plus your text, your posts on YouTube as well. That's all coming up on this final hour, 580 Sports Talk. We begin with headlines. And our 580 Sports Talk headlines begin with this shocker. From On3 Sports, elite tight end Ian Premer commits to Notre Dame football. The tight end from Great Bend announced his commitment to the Irish today, which gives Notre Dame a huge boost in their 2026 class. Notre Dame has edged out Kansas State and Iowa State. KU had heavy early interest, but had kind of come to understand in recent days and weeks that they were pretty well out of the picture, and it was down to the Cyclones, the Wildcats, and the Irish. There were predictions across the internet today, both from folks who cover K-State and folks who cover the national recruiting scene today, who were saying, yeah, I think this is done. I think Ian Premer's going to commit to Kansas State. So this was not, the local guys got fed some bad info, or the K-State reporters were seeing this one with their hearts and not with their eyes. No, there was a lot of intel out there that Premer was going to Kansas State. There are people that cover Kansas State right now on the 4Pay, the VIP message boards, who are saying, look, we were pretty convinced, but there was a reason not many of them were putting out what some websites, including our friends at 24/7 Sports, call the crystal ball projections, where they put a firm stamp on where they think a player is going to go. And there were some folks, even at Go PowerCat, that were not willing to do that, even though they felt like it was going to be a K-State commitment. Instead, Premer is committed to Notre Dame. He ranks as the number 3 tight end in America, according to On3, and the 24th ranked player in America for the class of 2026. Of course, that makes him the number 1 player in the state of Kansas. According to On3's industry ranking, he's the number 4 tight end nationally and the number 42 player in America. So On3 really thinks highly of Premer, and he is the second highest ranked commit in Notre Dame's 22-man recruiting class of 2026. Two things here. First of all, this is another thing that K-State reporters have been careful to say, that it ain't over till it's over. Until you sign on the line, which is dotted, recruitment isn't over. Remember the Dylan Edwards saga.
Yep. Also, why it's good to have a good relationship and not burn bridges.
Exactly right. That K-State will do their best to maintain that relationship as appropriate moving forward. And until Ian Premer signs on the line, which is dotted, there is still hope, however faint that may be, I suppose, even from the Iowa State side as well. But I guess I can't in the end say that I'm terribly surprised. And this is not a negative thought about Kansas State and their recruiting, and it is not a negative thought about Ian Premer. I haven't seen him play football. I saw him at the state basketball tournament as a sophomore, so I get it. Like, I've only seen the highlights, but I remember seeing him as a basketball player as a sophomore, and I get it. Like, the kind of athlete we're talking about, with also an exceptional baseball player. Great Bend was really good on the diamond this year. You see him and you watch him like be athletic, and you get it.
Yep.
So I am not surprised for 2 reasons. Number one, it's Notre freaking Dame. Like, there are some schools that if they come in with a really good offer and some really good promises, it's really hard to beat them in recruiting. And Notre Dame football is always going to be one of those schools, kind of like Duke basketball. And some schools are going to be really, really hard to beat in and on the recruiting trail. And number 2, I do think it had to have been a factor that Lincoln Cure coming to K-State to start his career this year as top-ranked player in Kansas, one of the top tight ends, maybe the top tight end in the class, big deal tight end recruit, may have been a negative in terms of Premer maybe not seeing a path to the field or a path to the sort of immediate playing time he had imagined for himself if a guy like Lincoln Cure was going to be ahead of him on the depth chart. I could tell you Notre Dame did not have a Lincoln Cure in their 2025 class. So maybe that was part of this. Maybe a Notre Dame booster dropped a gigantic bag somewhere in Great Bend and gave Ian Premer and his family the coordinates. I don't know. I don't even, I'm uncomfortable even speculating that kind of thing. But recruiting is recruiting, and you never know what direction it's going to take for a 17 and an 18-year-old and how they're going to come to whatever decision it is that they come with. So wish that young man all the best. And should he change his mind, I would be, if I were a K-Stater, very wary of the kinds of things I would post on social media and on message boards today, because you don't want to have to walk all that back if the young man does what many 18-year-olds do in the course of this and changes his mind.
I was going to say, and caveat, this is not just a K-State fan thing, but boy, I remember what some of y'all said about Dylan Edwards when he committed to Coach Prime.
Man,
I remember what some of you guys said who love him now. So again, it's not just that fan base. I've seen the same thing with plenty of others, including the other one here in this state. So I'm just saying, generally speaking, you keep those things open. But I also think, like, it's different when it's Colorado, when it's Deion Sanders, and when it's Notre Dame. Like, there is an element of, like, yeah, man, I get it. Different circumstances, but I remember, Topeka guy, Hayden High product, Joe Otting, when he committed he was heavily recruited by K-State and KU and others, and it was, look, man, I wanted to go to Notre Dame my whole life. Like, I went from wearing the gold helmet at Hayden to wearing the gold helmet at Notre Dame. That's pretty cool, man. That's a pretty cool thing to be able to say I get to do. So I get it. Bummer he didn't stay in state, but I'm happy for him because that's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, even Tom Loy and Alan True are the two of the national football recruiting analysts for 24/7 Sports. And 9 hours ago, this morning, they posted, Tom Loy posted, both myself and Alan True like Kansas State for elite tight end Ian Premer. Based on everything we've been gathering of late, the most optimism is coming from Kansas State, sources around the Wildcats. We'll see if anyone shakes things up late, but the most buzz is on and around Kansas State right now. And 2 hours ago, Premer committed to Notre Dame. So
yeah,
that's the winds of change are swift in recruiting, especially in the NIL era. So again, wish that young man all the best. And I would be very careful with what I put out there publicly about what I think of him spurning Kansas State if I were of the purple persuasion, because you never know.
All right, let's stay local with our next headline, and I want to get a couple more details about it. But Bobby Witt Jr. has committed to the World Baseball Classic. Yeah, not necessarily super fun to talk about Royals baseball right now, even their best and biggest star, because of the way things are going. But this is pretty cool. Bobby Witt Jr. was on the 2023 team, and he is going to be on the 2026 team as well. He didn't play a whole lot when he was on the team in 2023. I'm going to tell you this right now. I bet you he plays a whole lot coming up in 2026 as one of the faces of Team USA at the World Baseball Classic. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find the info here. Have you seen how many guys have committed already for the team?
It is 3. It is 3 players. Okay. Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, and Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there were more than the 3 of them. That's a pretty good group, man. That's the best young pitcher in baseball, or maybe best pitcher in general, next to Tarek Skubal. The best overall player in Aaron Judge, and now your best infielder in Bobby Witt Jr. That is a pretty cool group. Guys really got up for the 2023 series. It really meant something, and I think it really means something to guys now after losing in heartbreaking fashion against Japan in the final. So this is pretty cool that 3 of your biggest stars, and Skeens is probably, in terms of star power, a bigger name than Tarek Skubal. Probably your 3 biggest stars in baseball right now all committing. That's a pretty big deal.
The difference is going to be, like, when they first started doing this, there was some hesitation on the part of some of the bigger stars in the game to commit to this. But I think there have been some tipping points over the years. I think 2023, the way it ended with Shohei Ohtani facing Mike Trout with the championship on the line.
Yeah, that was sick.
Number one, was awesome. And number 2, I think it inspired a lot of guys to want to be a part of the next one. But the separator is going to be pitchers, because position players, it's one thing. It just be part of your ramp up to the season. For pitchers, it's a little different. You're not used to pitching competitive innings in March, like really high stakes innings in March. So you go back and you look, who was on the United States pitching staff in 2023? Among those on the United States pitching staff in 2023 included Aaron Loop and Kyle Freeland. Those were the lefties.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Gonzalez, I believe, was Nick Martinez, was one of the pitchers for Team USA. We were not setting our best in the pitching category. And I love Kyle Freeland, but come on. Like, You need the Paul Skeenses and the Tarek Skubals. You need those guys to be willing to say, yeah, you know what? All right, 50 pitches, 3 innings. I'll let it eat for the good old USA. And then for the best pitchers in the other countries, because like Japan always had their best pitchers. They always had like Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, Otani. They've always sent their best guys. The United States can get their best pitchers to go along with the high-profile position talent. They should win the event first. And secondly, it will make the event even better.
Yes, it will. Agreed.
That's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, very cool, though. Bobby Witt going to be one of the faces of Team USA next year.
Next headline for me from NBA.com, as expected, Mavericks draft Cooper Flagg with number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. That was first reported here on 580 Sports Talk about 2 hours before the draft began. Must credit Dan Lucero of 580 Sports Talk. No shock that the Duke standout was the number 1 overall pick in last night's NBA draft. Rutgers guard Dylan Harper went number 2 to the San Antonio Spurs. VJ Edgecombe from Baylor was first Big 12 player selected. He went 3rd to Philadelphia. Duke's Con Knippel went 4th to Charlotte. Ace Bailey, another Rutgers guard, rounded out the top 5, drafted by Utah. Agor Demon from BYU was a lottery pick. He went number 8 overall to Brooklyn. A lot of people were a little surprised.
Brooklyn was smoking crack last night. 5 first-round picks, and I thought Danny Wolf at the end was fine. Like, that's a fine pick at 27 overall or whatever. No, man, they were smoking that straight Colombian stuff all night. Oh, my. What were they doing?
They made a lot of picks.
Every one of them was like, hey, what if we started our offensive set 84 feet from the basket and shot it from there every time? A crazy draft.
Not the craziest. I will say the craziest was New Orleans trading up and trading an unprotected first-round pick next year so they could draft Derek Queen, who I think would be a great draft pick if it was 2005.
Or like 18th overall. Like, okay, sure, good college player, like can shoot a little bit away from the paint. Like, yeah, whatever. That's the thing that's hard for many people to grasp unless you're a true NBA hoop head. Like outside of the top 5, maybe 4, you're just taking lottery tickets in the NBA draft. It's such a crapshoot.
Especially in this draft, not particularly deep with like impact guys.
No, I kind of like the top 3, and I don't really know how Edgecombe's going to fit in Philly, but I kind of like the talent of the top 3. But yeah, outside of that, it's whatever.
Other familiar names, transfer portal, former KU transfer portal target Cedric Coward ended up going 11th overall. Memphis traded up 5 spots and traded a future first to go up 5 picks and get Cedric Coward, the former Washington State Cougar. Carter Bryant from Arizona, also taken out of the Big 12. He went 14 to San Antonio. My favorite pick of the night was Yang Hansen. It's actually pronounced Yang Hansen, but it looks like Yang Hansen.
He's sitting in the crowd.
Yeah, he came down from the stands to shake Adams.
That's what Christian Brown did a couple years ago.
He was the 16th overall pick. He'll go to Portland in that Cedric Coward deal. 7'2" young man from China with like an obviously AI generated name for your NBA 2K My GM mode. Yang Hansen. Nobody in the world had him as a first round pick. And he went number 16 overall. I love when guys like that end up getting drafted in the middle of the first round and they crash the stage. That's so funny to me. There were no other Big 12 players who were selected in the first round. The second round, 29 more picks coming tonight in the NBA draft.
Someone saw this on the Everything app earlier today. Yang Dwap Scoot. The Blazers are assembling a roster full of 1960s Batman punches. Thought that was pretty fun.
I was going to say guys who had features on Lil Wayne mixtapes back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, that fits too.
How you feel about Noah Esenge?
I think it's Esenge. Yeah, I would love to just rip on the Bulls for having a terrible draft, but there were 2 guys that I wanted, and both of them got taken 9th and 10th. Colin Murray-Broyles from South Carolina. He went to Toronto, and Common Malawach, the big man from Duke, he ended up going 1 pick later. So, I mean, it's whatever. Looks like he's got NBA-ready defense right away. I don't think his offense is ever going to be good because offensive projects taken 12th overall almost certainly will never be useful, but I don't know. I mean, Pickens were slim, so I'm not going to get too worked up about it. Don't love it, but whatever. Oh, you know what I am going to get worked up about, though? The Bulls today traded the 45th pick to the Lakers for the 55th pick and cash. They got a check and dropped back 10 spots. For what? What does that do for anyone? I hate Jerry Reinsdorf. Hate's a strong word, but I hate him. I really do.
Good question from the text line from the 785. How does a team with 5 first-round picks screw up all of them?
Dude, a crazy draft.
I like Igor Demon. Maybe not 8th overall, but like...
Dude, they were just... Sean Marks was just doing whippets before every pick.
I like Danny Wolf, too. He was their last pick.
I thought that was the best of the group.
Yeah, the kid from Michigan via Yale. I like him.
I heard Ryan Russillo describe Igor Demon's misses as violent because every time he missed a 3, it made a really loud sound, which, yeah, that's kind of true.
Other events of last night worth remarking on. Malika Andrews accidentally called Cedric Coward Colin Coward. That was extremely
very funny. And then just never addressed it. Yeah.
Also, big ups to Dylan Harper's mama. She was also a star.
Yes. Again, thinking about the year Christian Brown was drafted. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes
social media star of the event.
People know. My favorite part of the night was Walter Clayton's baby girl. Walter Clayton, the Florida most outstanding player of the Final Four. He went 18th. It was Washington's pick. It got traded to Utah. His girlfriend was there. They have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and she was adorable. She was giving everybody dap. It was really, really cute. I'm a sucker for that stuff now, having one of my own that's around that age. But I was like, oh, I'm rooting for this guy now.
Yeah, it's neat.
So let's get another headline.
Did you watch the TV coverage, or did you just follow along?
I was in and out, and then by about pick 20, I was out.
I was mostly following along on my phone. When I finally got in front of a TV, I watched the CBS Sports HQ. They had Adam Finkelstein, Gary Parrish, and Matt Norlander doing it, and it was either that or Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith. So you know where I was focusing my attention. Next headline for me, quick one. We mentioned this with Rick Peterson earlier today, but this from Henry Greenstein of the Lawrence Journal World. JHX Hoops, Jayhawks, the KU alumni team in the basketball tournament, is now listing Jacob Hanna on its roster. 6'3" guard, wrapped up his senior season at Washburn, where he was the MIAA Defensive Player and Newcomer of the Year. Jacob is awesome. He's a great dude. He is such a freaking good basketball player, man. Brett Ballard told us during the end of the year, senior day festivities and whatnot, they thought he was going Division I, but Washburn was able to convince him to go to Washburn, and he had one of the best individual seasons in program history. Awesome guy, heck of a player. And now that Frank Mason spurned his alma mater's alumni team to go play with Syracuse players instead, there are going to be some point guard minutes available and some need for defense. And so I think Jacob's going to play in the TBT next month. I'm so excited for him, man. This is so cool.
He will play for JHX Hoops. Frank Mason will not.
Yeah, dude. Frank Mason's my favorite college basketball player of all time. And he yesterday announced that he is going to play for the Syracuse team, the Boeheim Army. One, people forget Jim Boeheim killed a guy. I don't need allegedly on that. That happened. Secondly, he posted something on his Instagram and his Twitter last night, I think it was. It was like, look, it's just business. And to a degree, I do get it. Like, there's $1 million on the line, and the Syracuse alumni team is really good always. They always make a run in this. So I do get it to a degree. And he posted a picture of him wearing a KU sweatshirt on, I get it, but I'm still disappointed. He was really good last year. He was in shape. He was looking great. But I'm sad he's not playing for the KU team, man.
No, I get it. One more headline we'll get to today. This from ESPN.com. Ex-Ravens kicker Justin Tucker gets 10-week ban from NFL. He has been suspended for the first 10 weeks of the 2025 regular season after the NFL found that he violated its personal conduct policy. He can serve the suspension as a free agent. He's free to sign with any NFL team. If he were to sign, he could attend training camp and play in preseason games before the suspension begins prior to week 1 of this season. He is eligible for reinstatement and to be able to play in games November 11th. Tucker was accused of sexual misconduct by 16 massage therapists in the Baltimore area, according to the reporting of the Baltimore Banner. All of the alleged misconduct reportedly occurred between 2012 and 2016. Couple of things here. First, this seems like a pretty rapid denouement to this story that the NFL was satisfied enough with their findings to already come down with a decision that fast. That surprises me, which leads me to believe that this is Justin Tucker copping a plea. This is Justin Tucker saying, yeah, I'll take whatever you throw at me now because I'd prefer you guys stop digging because there might be more. It might be worse. Which, in that case, how is it only a 10-week suspension? They gave Deshaun Watson essentially a full year and then 11 weeks on top of that. 11 games on top of that. How's only 10 weeks here? Like, either he didn't do anything and so you shouldn't suspend him, or he did all of that and he should never play in the NFL again. So, like, this seems like a very unsatisfying denouement to this. It just feels like the NFL wants to be done with it and not have anybody talk about it anymore.
So I see where you're coming from with that. From a point of historical perspective, though, this is one of the longest non-gambling suspensions and non-steroid suspensions in the history of the NFL. Like, this is what Greg Hardy got. And what Greg Hardy did was, like, this is also horrific.
Yes.
But, like, we had pictures of that, and it was disgusting. Like, I'm looking at the list of NFL. There's an entire Wikipedia page of NFL suspensions. It's wild. Most of the ones that were indefinite, were turned around in a year, but most of them were gambling. Or Ray Caruth, who murdered his baby mama.
Yeah.
He should be in hell. But anyway, that's beside the point. Like, this is relative to NFL suspensions. This is a really long one. The only other guys who have gotten exactly 10 games for non-substance abuse policy violations are Greg Hardy, which, again, horrific, and Josh Brent, who killed a guy.
He killed a teammate.
Manslaughter, yeah. You want to talk about horrific. Those were back-to-back years, in fact, 14, 15.
Yeah, both the Cowboys, yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from, but, like, relative to past punishments, this is a lot. And, like, it's over. Like, Justin Tucker ain't coming back.
No.
You're not signing a kicker who's going to be sitting out 10 weeks. Like, nah, man, this ain't worth it.
No, it's not worth it for anybody, and you're probably right about that. And I think that what you're saying then speaks to how impotent the punishments for personal conduct policy violations
probably true.
really feel for the NFL, because if it's anything like what's been alleged for Justin Tucker, 10 games, that's less than 10 weeks. That's less than 1 week per allegation.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, it feels like that ought to be a little bit more severe. Like, we ought to be making examples out of these guys, because apparently it's going around.
So maybe I'm being too generous here, and you can tell me if I am, and we got to get out of here. But this to me feels like the shortest suspension they could give that would also guarantee he's never going to sign again, because he was bad last year. He's in his mid-30s. And he's got a stench around him now. This feels like we're not going to make a statement, but we also know what's going to happen with this number.
It's also less than the Deshaun Watson number,
yes,
which it probably always had to be.
Yes.
But then the real question is, why was the Deshaun Watson number only 11?
Well, good point.
We'll take a timeout. When we come back, it's Josh Simmons days until the Chiefs kick off. We're going to talk about the maybe starter at left tackle for the Chiefs when we come back on 580 Sports Talk. It is 71 days until the Kansas City Chiefs open the 2025 regular season in Brazil against the Los Angeles Chargers, which means our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff has reached number 71. And that's the rookie out of Ohio State, the number 32 overall pick in this year's NFL draft, Josh Simmons. We have gone from, are we sure Simmons is going to be healthy to play any football in 2025 to, hey, he's participating in some team activities. That's cool. To he's a full go for training camp. And according to Adam Teicher's reporting, it sure sounds like the expectation is that when the Chiefs play the Chargers on September 5th, Josh Simmons is going to be the left tackle. That is a remarkable recovery, first and foremost. And when the Chiefs said they felt good about the medicals when they drafted Simmons at 32 overall, boy, they weren't lying. They must have seen something borderline miraculous developing in that knee, because patellar tendon injuries, as we said time and again surrounding the draft, they are no joke. But Simmons has recovered sufficiently from the one he suffered last October to be considered a full participant in training camp. And if he does participate in full in training camp, the expectation is going to be that he will be the starting left tackle for the Chiefs. So how good can he be right away? How good is it fair to expect him to be right away? Because the standard of left tackle play for the Chiefs, they haven't gotten like Hall of Fame level left tackle play in the Mahomes era. They have gotten Pro Bowl level left tackle play, first from Eric Fisher and then from Orlando Brown Jr. They've also, in a Super Bowl year, kind of gotten middling left tackle play from a guy like Donovan Smith. And of course, last year they pieced it together with duct tape and Joe Thuney all the way until the Super Bowl, when it immediately stopped working. So the bar's not super high, but it's up there. Like Fisher and Brown were solid, above average starting left tackles in the NFL. Is it reasonable to expect Josh Simmons, especially coming off of the injury, to be that in season one? Because I was looking at some of the recent first round picks, like top picks at tackle in the NFL draft. Rookie years for guys like Joe Alt and Ike Ekwonu and some of the guys who, Fashanu last year, Charles Cross of the Seahawks a couple years back. And there's obviously a pretty wide window of performance. Some guys, got benched or moved to right tackle. Some guys, were solid starters for playoff caliber teams. Like Joe Alt was solid last year. I don't know that you're expecting Joe Alt level play, but if you consider Simmons as a top 15 caliber talent that happened to fall to 32 due to the injury, if he can play at that level, if he can be that impactful as a rookie, that does wonders for a Chiefs offensive line who spent the last 2 years kind of fighting against the left tackle spot a little bit.
Am I a bad person if I think this might be a bad idea?
I don't think it makes you a bad person.
Maybe it's the being unfortunately right about Jack Caglione right now that has me a little bit worried about this. All offseason, everyone who covers the NFL, what has been the concern about the Chiefs? Left tackle and the left side of the line in general. Everyone, everywhere, NFL.com, PFF, various podcasts, the Athletic Football Show, Football 3, everywhere. It's the left tackle. That's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie who's coming off a very serious injury less than 12 months ago.
It is. It is.
I'm going to be honest, and if I'm being way too conservative about this, I'm happy to be called out for it. I think it's a bad idea to start him week one. I do. And I hope he's great, because it sure sounds like that's what's going to happen. And the Chiefs kind of telegraphed this, because remember last year, well, who's going to win the job? Is it going to be Suamataia or is Morris going to get it? Nah, it was pretty clear early on Suamataia won that job before the preseason even started. And that didn't work.
He had it for 2 weeks. He was terrible. And so that was a huge evaluation miss on the Chiefs' part, right?
It was. And in fairness, Simmons is a better prospect than Suamataia. I was definitely on the most aggressive camp with him, saying I would have taken him 32 overall. I certainly would have been wrong about that now. Getting him in the second round, you're more comfortable moving him to guard. We've been over that a million times. Simmons is a better prospect right off the rip than Suamataia was. That being said, this injury worries me, man. And I know that he looked good in OTAs. They don't hit offensive linemen in OTAs.
Right.
We have not seen him against we haven't seen him against Max Crosby. We haven't seen him against Khalil Mack. We haven't seen him against any of those dudes the Broncos can throw at you right now.
The Eagles are weak too.
I think I would rather, knowing that I want him to be my long-term cornerstone left tackle, I would rather start Jalen Moore in that spot. And that's not to say Josh Simmons can't be great even later on this season. I would ease him into that role. I really would. And maybe the concern there is, look, if we're going to play him at some point this season anyway, why are we waiting? Just throw him into the fire. The best way to learn is failing and is going up against great dudes. I understand that logic. I just think I would slow play this. But maybe I am maybe I'm using kid gloves too much here. I don't know.
I do not think it is being too cynical to look at the first 2 weeks against Jesse Minter and Vic Fangio defenses and the proposition of a rookie left tackle who hasn't played in a football game since the previous October and a second-year left guard who's only played that position in an NFL game one time, and say, yeah, feel real good about the blind side of Patrick Mahomes with those guys. You better be real sure. And for Andy Reid and Andy Heck, they better be more sure than they were last year about Suamataia at left tackle. That may have been, in the end, like we're sitting here saying, hey, they whiffed. They put Suamataia in a situation that it was clear he was not ready for. He was fine week 1. He got humiliated by Trey Hendrickson week 2, and it couldn't be that anymore. And that started the musical chairs at left tackle that lasted the rest of the season. That may have also been down to they knew immediately whatever it couldn't be Wanya Morris. That it may have been more of a reflection of what Wanya Morris could not do than what Kingsley Suamataia could. But they have gone into this offseason with the expectation to go all the way back to the end of the year, walking off the field at the end of the Super Bowl. The plans for the 2025 season have always included Kingsley Suamataia at left guard. They're convinced. I got to see it. I want to see it. I thought it was fine week 18, but who's to say? That game was a walkthrough for the Chiefs, effectively. And if they're going to put a rookie next to him, that rookie better be ready to bring it. And that is a massive gamble because you are gambling with your quarterback. You are gambling with the most valuable player in the National Football League in Patrick Mahomes. And so your gamble better be the right one. And there's a lot of equity that Reid and Heck and Matt Nagy and this coaching staff and this team have built up over the years. But the fact that they were so wrong last year does give you, I think, at least a little bit of pause with regards to Josh Simmons. I think his ceiling is very high. I think he could be as good as any left tackle. Matt Miller, who NFL draft guru, says put a Teron Armstead comp on him coming out of the draft. If that's the outcome the Chiefs get, that's an all-pro, and that's a nailed-on starter for a decade at left tackle. Love for that to be the outcome. I think that ceiling exists. We're going to see it year 1? Almost certainly not. Are we going to see it week 1? I don't know if the Chiefs want to be in a situation where they have to hope so.
Here would be a concern for me. I'm going to use Talise Fuaga, who played for the Saints this past year.
That's the name I couldn't come up with. Fuaga.
Good prospect. First-round pick, 14th overall this past year. And I'm trying to get the full season numbers here, but he last year, at least through the majority of the season, through November, so I don't know the last few weeks of the season, he had an 8.3% pressure rate. That's really good. That was second best among rookies last year. That's really good. Here's the big problem. Third quickest time to pressure allowed among all tackles. That's my worry, I think, with Simmons. I think, like, technically, size-wise, I think he can get in front of dudes. My concern would be the first step. And with a bad knee or a reconstructed knee, how quick, is he able to beat speed guys who can get off the ball really quickly? Because pressures in general are one thing. Quick pressures are another. And I don't know if you saw the New Orleans Saints offensive line last year. Yikes. Not great. And they let dudes get into the backfield and hit Rattler and Hainer and Carr really quickly last season. That would be my concern. The get off. Can you stop guys quickly?
We'll take a break, come back with a quick game of either or over under here on 580 Sports Talk. All right, let's make it quick. Either or, over under. Over under half a win for the Royals against the Dodgers this weekend at the K. Can they salvage a game or two and break this home losing streak?
No, I'm going to say under. When is it going to get fixed?
The vibes are terrible. Alex Zumwalt is in the DMs of fans on Twitter. Matt Contreras talking about, we're trying to give young guys an opportunity when the average age of the starting lineup today was 27 years old. Like, I don't know, man. The vibes are really, really bad. The flip side of the argument from the 913 on the text line, baseball's weird, so I'll take the over.
That was my thought. That it just sometimes that happens. Yeah, maybe the Dodgers take them really lightly. Pitcher-friendly ballpark, team that can't hit, not a great combination.
Not typically, no. Royals. You got one?
Yeah, so my either or over under for today. Let's go with an over under. Really, it's a sooner or later. I'm going to say, and this is kind of like subjective. This is all subjective. I'm going to say Thursday next week, July 3rd. The deadline for the Royals to determine whether or not they're a buyer or a seller.
I think that is more contingent on how the other teams in the wild card race fare.
Fair.
Like there are a lot of teams out there kind of playing crummy baseball. Like the Red Sox, another team in the mix, not playing real good right now.
The problem with that though is so many teams are in the wild card hunt.
That's true. That's true. And I think the Royals, and we'll get into this in greater detail on tomorrow's show, but I do think there's value in the Royals waiting because one, they don't have a ton to sell, and two, the thing that they have to sell is very valuable. The thing that they have to put on the market essentially is Seth Lugo. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a valuable piece. And, if you do act faster, the buying team gets more starts from Seth Lugo. I might be willing to give you more for Seth Lugo, but that's the piece that's going to maintain its value, barring something unfortunate. So I think they can afford to wait a little bit longer than that. But like if they get swept this weekend, maybe not.
They are 4 games back in of the third wild card. But a bigger problem is there are 5 teams ahead of them.
That is a problem.
So not only do you have to make up ground with wins, you've got to also jump 5. Well, really, you have to jump 6 teams because the Mariners, you have to jump the team that's currently 3rd in the wild card standings, which is the Mariners, who are a game up on the Guardians. You're going to play the Guardians still, but man, I'm going to say it's no later than that date. I think they need a good weekend, good start to next week, because otherwise I think it's just going to get too late, too early.
Royals, Dodgers this weekend at Coppin Stadium. And I got a family 4-pack of Saturday afternoon tickets to see the Royals at the K. You're going to be the reason that they snap that skid. That's assuming a Friday loss, unfortunately. I don't want to do that. But I'll take the second caller to 785-272-9429. 785-272-9429. Send you and 3 others to the K on Saturday. We'll come back with the final word after this. Wrapping up, walking off this truncated edition of 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski, give me a final word.
I have no problem with what Matt Quattrero said and the frustration he shared with the media. He didn't go over a line or anything, but he clearly was fuming in his press conference after the game today. And I have no problem with him saying, yeah, there are talented guys. They'll turn it around. Tomorrow's an opportunity for it and all of that. But as someone who's not in that clubhouse, but is still watching this team every day, I'm finding it harder and harder to see an out from where they currently are. They'll get a win at some point, there's no doubt. I'm just not sure where the fix is going to come from to turn this offense around. And if they don't figure it out against the best team in the National League starting tomorrow, I'm not sure they're going to, and I think they might have to sell.
Yeah, the Royals are in a ditch. There's no question about it. Feels like a clubhouse that's feeling the heat, a lineup in particular that's feeling the heat, squeezing the sticks into sawdust and just not putting forth a lot of real good at-bats, trying to hit 6-run home runs every time they come to the plate, and that's just not how you get out of a slump, and it makes for a painful watch. The pitching hasn't been that bad in truth. I thought Michael Walker was pretty darn good last night outside of one inning where they got him with some squeeze bunts, but that inning was so revealing, that second inning of last night's game. The Rays squeeze bunted their way to 3 runs and said, dare you to top this. And the Royals, they didn't even come close. 1 run in their last 3, 11 runs in their last 13 runs in their last 11 home games. it is hard to watch and hard to foresee it getting a whole lot better against the Dodgers. But you never know. That's the thing about baseball. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 to 6 to break it all down, evaluate the Royals at the midway point. For Brendan, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.